Hi guys, I hope you are all well. Welcome to Quantitative Techniques B. This is the first of many videos to help you along with this module. I hope you enjoy, and our first session will be covering contingency tables and the different types of probability questions that you can be asked based on these tables. So without further ado, I'm going to get right into it. There are 10 questions in total that is based on the contingency table that you will see in front of you. And as I said, it covers the basic probability questions that you can come across, where we look at all of the different types of events in terms of intersection of events, union of events, mutually exclusive events, non-mutually exclusive events, the conditional rule, the complementary rule, and so on. So the question says to you, the following table illustrates 170 companies from the JSE that are classified by sector and size. So as you'll see here, a contingency table is one that consists of two categories of different variables. And here you have one variable that is the size of a company, and then you have the other that is the sector. So within each of those different variables, you have subcategories where, as you can see, company is classified as either a small company, a medium-sized company, or a large company. And then you have that a sector can be classified as either a mining sector company, a financial sector company, a service sector company, or a retail company. As you know, with a contingency table, whenever we are looking at the total row here at the bottom or the total column that I circled first, we are referring to a marginal frequency. So these are marginal frequencies. Literal to the word marginal, they are saying to you that they are the figures on the outsides of this table, and marginal frequencies explain to you one variable at a time. So they look at the probability of one specific variable occurring at a time. Then if you ignore that total column and total row, so leave those out, and you focus on everything within the table. So everything within the rectangle that I've drawn, these are called joint frequencies. And as you know, joint frequencies are where we look at the probability of two variables occurring at a time. Okay, so this is the main items that you will come across in a contingency table, and then various calculations can be asked on this. So question 1 says, it says based on this, calculate the following. So question 1 says the probability of randomly selecting a medium-sized company. So remember, in this contingency table, firstly, I had said to you that the column total and the row total would look at one specific variable at a time. And in the first question, they did say to you, calculate the probability of randomly selecting a medium-sized company. So they only referred to medium-sized. They didn't refer to the sector to which the company belonged. So here, you were focusing on only one variable, and you would get this answer in either the total, the column total, or the row total. So you're going to identify on the table where your medium-sized companies lie, and you'll find it in the center here, and you'll go down to its total, which is the 48. And as you know, with your probabilities, the basic probability formula is R over N. So here you're going to find that your R is 48. And as you would have learned, your sample size is the letter N. And in a contingency table, your sample size is located in the last block on the right-hand corner. So your N value, your sample size, is 170. So 48 over 170 would be your answer here. And most of the time, we require you to give these answers as 2 decimal places or alternatively as a percentage. So I'm going to leave it as 2 decimal places because it's the more commonly used one. So here it would be 0.28 as your final answer. If they do ask you for a percentage, then you'll naturally then leave it as 4 decimal places first. So it would be 0.2824. And then as a percentage, it would be 28.24%. Okay, so this is your answer for the first question. It was one where we were looking at a marginal frequency. Then the second question says the probability of randomly selecting a small-sized service company. So here we're looking at 2 variables, small-sized, so we know the size of the company, and we also know that the company belongs to the service sector. So here, when we're looking at 2 variables, as mentioned, we look at everything except for the total row and the total column. So I'm going to go ahead and clear the scene. So it's basically everything within this block. So they said to you a small-sized service company. So you're going to go to small company and service company. And in line with both of those, you find that this is the value you're looking for. So again, in line with the general probability formula of R over N, your answer here would be 10 over the sample size, which is the last figure here, is 10 over 170. So as a decimal, 2 decimal places, 0.06 is your final answer. Then you have in question 3, the probability of randomly selecting a large retail company. So again here, very similarly to question 2, we're working within this box. We have 2 variables given to us. It is large and it's from within the retail sector. So you have large and retail sector. So in line with retail and with large, your value is 6. So you're looking at 6 over your sample size, which is 170. So 6 over 170, which gives you a final answer of 0.04. So that is question 1, 2, and 3 so far. Hoping that you are getting the hang of it. Then question 4 says to you, the probability of randomly selecting a medium-sized or a financial sector company. So the moment you see the word or, it immediately signals to you that it will either be, and I just want to highlight that for you. So it would immediately signal to you that we either have a case of it being a mutually exclusive or alternatively a non-mutually exclusive event. So to identify which of the 2 it is, you're going to ask yourself the question of, can these 2 events occur simultaneously? If they cannot occur simultaneously, then it will be a mutually exclusive event. If it can occur simultaneously, then it is a non-mutually exclusive event. So let's look at the question again and identify which of the 2 it would fall into. So it says the probability of randomly selecting a medium-sized or financial sector company. So can these 2 events occur together or not? So in this case, it would be definitely that they can occur together, because the fact that we have a medium-sized company doesn't affect the chance that we can also have it being a financial sector company. It can be both of them at the same time. These events can occur simultaneously, which would make it a non-mutually exclusive event. So this is a non-mutually exclusive event. And with these non-mutually exclusive events, the formula for it is the probability, and this is a general formula. The formula is the probability of X or Y occurring is equal to the probability of X plus the probability of Y minus the probability of X and Y occurring. Okay, so this is the formula that we use when it comes to your non-mutually exclusive events. And here we would make from the question medium-sized company, let's make that X, and your financial company, let's make that Y. So here you would have, and we generally do prefer that it is over one denominator, but if it's perfect for you, sorry, if you are more comfortable with having it over separate denominators or as a separate function, it's perfectly fine as well. So here you have a medium-sized company. So I'll show you both ways. The first way is according to the formula. If you do follow the method of just having one denominator, remember the formula is R over N as always. So N is 170. Then you would have probability of X, which is a medium-sized company. So you'll go to medium, it is 48, plus the probability of Y, which is the financial sector company. So financial sector is 72, and then minus the probability of X and Y. So both of these events occurring. So this would be financial and medium, which is 21. So in line with financial and medium, so minus 21. So it's 48 plus 72 minus 21 over 170. You can write it as this, or alternatively, if you prefer, you can have 48 over 170 as its own fraction, plus 72 over 170 as its own fraction, minus 21 over 170 as its own fraction. So whichever you prefer, they will both give you the same answer, which in this case is 0.58. Whichever you prefer, it's entirely up to you, which you're more comfortable with. You will get the same marks awarded for both of them. But again, we generally do use this one at the bottom. Okay, so that's question 4, which was your non-mutually exclusive event. Then we have question 5, which says the probability of randomly selecting a service sector company, given that it is large in size. So the moment we see the word given when it comes to these general basic probability calculations, it immediately signals to us that it is a conditional probability, meaning that there is some sort of condition in place saying to us that our sample size is now going to change. So this is a conditional probability. Again, the moment you see the word given, and as I said, with a conditional probability, you'll find that the size of your denominator changes. No longer looking at, like with the general rule at the top, our denominator is no longer the letter n. It's no longer the entire sample size. So basically, what we're saying here is we no longer in this question have a sample size or denominator of 170. We're going to have a different denominator because what happens when the given rule, the rule comes in, is we're saying that we're not focusing on all 170 companies. We're focusing on fewer than that. So in this case, they said to us for question 5, what is the probability of randomly selecting a service sector company given that it is large in size? So the given portion here is that it is large in size, which means that we're not looking at all 170. We're only looking at the large companies, and there were only 86 large companies. So in this case, our denominator is now going to be 86. So the rule when it comes to your conditional probability, the general formula, as you would have come across, is that the probability of A given B is calculated by taking the probability of A and B and it's over the probability of the given, which is B in this case. Okay, so the given portion goes to the denominator, which in this case we had to take care of. We said that it was given that it is large companies, and there were 86 large companies, so that became our denominator. So here we then look at for our numerator, it says probability of A and B. So in this case, we would make A the service sector company and B was the large company, which again tied in with the fact that our denominator would have to be the probability of B, which we did put in here. We in the probability of B, which was the number of large companies. And then our numerator, would have to be the probability of A and B, which is the probability of a service sector company and a large company. So we'd go to service sector and large. So in line with those, it would be 8. So it would be 8 over 86. So as a decimal, that would be 0.09. Okay, then question 6 says, what is the probability of randomly selecting a retail or small-sized company? So here you would have pretty much the same as question 4 here. We're looking at retail or small-sized company. So I'm just going to give you a couple of seconds in case you're taking down anything on the screen, and I'll start to work with number 6. Okay, so let's go ahead to number 6. It says a probability of randomly selecting a retail or small-sized company. So here it is also, you're going to ask yourself the question, the moment we see the word or, it's either mutually exclusive or non-mutually exclusive. In this case, we can have a retail or a medium, a small sized company. So in this case, it's going to be non-mutually exclusive, which means that these two events can occur at the same time. So your non-mutually exclusive rule, again, just to reiterate, is the probability of the probability of A or B occurring is calculated by taking the probability of A plus the probability of B minus the probability of A and B. So again, here you can use one denominator. You can separate each fraction and list them out as their own fractions. So if you do it the standard way, it would be 170, which is your sample size, as your denominator. So we said retail and small sized. So retail, we'd say, is the letter A, we'd denote it by A, and B would be your small sized company. So retail would go to the total of your retail, which is 33, plus we are saying then your small sized companies, which is 36. And then you'll subtract your retail and small, which is 14. So this would give you an answer of 0.32. Okay, so I'm going to write out here just in case you prefer to do it singularly as well. And I'll just give you a couple of seconds in case you're taking anything down. And that would yield the same answer of 0.32. Okay, so that is number 6. Then number 7 says the probability of randomly selecting a medium-sized company given that it is from within the mining sector. So once again here, you are looking at the fact that the word given has been included in this question, which means that our denominator is no longer the value of n, which is your sample size. Your denominator will now be the given portion. So remember, the formula is the probability of A given B is calculated by taking the probability of A and B over the given, which is the probability of B. So here, your given portion will make medium-sized A and will make mining sector B. So your given is B, which is the mining sector. So you're going to go to mining, and the total is 41. So your denominator then will be 41. And remember, the idea with a conditional probability is that, again, we're no longer focusing on all 170 companies. We're focusing on only the given portion, meaning that we're only looking at the mining companies. So 41 becomes our denominator, and our numerator is medium and mining. So you'll go to medium in line with mining, and that is 8 out of the 41 companies, which would be 0.20. Sorry, let me write that again for you. Okay, so 0.20 would be your final answer here. And then number 8 says, what is the probability of randomly selecting a company that is not large in size? Okay, so I'll just give you a second again in case you're taking down anything, and I'll clear the screen. Okay, so question 8, the probability of randomly selecting a company that is not large in size. So it's imperative that with your contingency tables, you pay very careful attention to the wording, because you're going to find that it's easy to read a question and not pick up on some of the key words in the questions. So like here, for instance, it says the probability of randomly selecting a company that is not large in size. So your key word here is the word not large in size. So whenever you see the word not in a probability type of question where you have your contingency table, it immediately signals to you here that this is the complementary rule. So with your complementary rule, you would have come across that the general formula is the probability of A occurring is calculated by taking 1 minus the probability of A not occurring. Okay, so here you would take, so if you're saying what is the probability of selecting a company that is not large in size? So we would say then the probability of selecting a company that is not large would be calculated by taking 1 minus the probability of selecting a large company, because the opposite of not large is large. So it's 1 minus the opposite, which is 1 minus, and the probability of selecting a large company is 86 out of 170. So 86 over 170, and then 1 minus that would give you a final answer of 0.49. Okay, so that is question 8 when it comes to your complementary rules. I'll give you a second. Okay, then the next one, number 9, says, what is the probability of randomly selecting a small and a medium-sized company? So again, here, you're always going to look for keywords. In this case, it is small and medium. So when you look at this, you're going to ask yourself, can I select a company that is small and medium in size? Immediately, it rings a bell to you and says, no, it's not possible for us to select a company that is small and medium. And so in this case, it is a mutually exclusive event where the probability would equal to 0, because it is not possible to select a company that is both small and medium in size. It can be small or medium, but it can't be both small and medium. Okay, so in this case, your probability would be equal to 0. So please pay very careful attention to the wording that's being used. And then the last one, in line with number 9, says the probability of randomly selecting a small or a medium-sized company And here, as I was saying to you in the previous question, it is possible to have one or the other. So here you're going to, in order to calculate small or medium, it is calculated by taking the probability of A plus the probability of B. Again, remember, it is a mutually exclusive event. So with a mutually exclusive event, two events cannot happen together, which means it can't be small and medium, but one or the other in this question can happen together. So this is why we had 0 for this one, where we said that both can't occur together, but we can have an answer if we say one or the other. And it's calculated by taking the probability of the one plus the probability of the other. So here we can again have it over one denominator, which is your total sample size of 170. And it's calculated by taking the probability of small, we'll make that A, and we'll make medium size B. So small company is 36, and a medium-sized company is 48. So 36 plus 48 over 170 would give 0.49. Alternatively, if you would prefer, you can have them as separate fractions. So 36 over 170 plus 48 over 170. And that would yield the same answer of 0.49. Okay, so that is it for your first session on contingency tables and the various types of events and probabilities that will possibly come out of these tables. Please practice these, and I will see you again soon.